Hello, my friends. Now, before I begin, I'd once again like to give a big thank you. Thank you for all of you who leave comments on the various videos that I've posted. Um, I do try to acknowledge that I've read your comment by putting one of those little love heart things on it. I do appreciate your comments. I might not agree with them, some of them, but I do appreciate the comments. I am humbled by those of you who have subscribed to my channel. I'm not a professional YouTuber by any stretch of the imagination. I just do this for a bit of fun, for a bit of release. I'm not exactly a young man. When I was growing up, there was no such thing as internet. So I just do this for a bit of fun. I see that most of the comments and most of the people who have subscribed to me are devotees of Babylon 5. I'll try to do my best as to keep with that narrative, keep with Babylon 5. I'll keep chucking some other sci-fi in there, but Babylon 5 seems to be the main calling card for this channel, so I'll keep it at that. So, thank you to everybody. Now, I'd love to bring some good news, but unfortunately, I've got some, disturbing or bad news, whichever way you want to look at it. And that's about the Babylon 5 reboot. So we'll go over to Great Frickin' Robot, which is the page where I've found this article. We'll go through the article and then that'll basically, for those of you who haven't seen it, the article was released on September 22nd, so I'm probably behind the times again. But here we go. So I came across this article today because somebody left me a very simple message that sort of, for me it was a hint that there was something out there. So the message was this, not to be, that's all it was, and I understood exactly what the message was. It wasn't just a bit of satire. It wasn't, obviously this person knows about this article, knows about the latest news. If not, then it was a total coincidence, but I thank you for posting. So here's the article. So where is this? I basically did a Google search, and the headline reads, Babylon 5 reboot could be cancelled this month unless fans save it. There are not enough of us to do that, I don't think. Alright, I'm going to let the narrator take care of this one, and the very next article I'll read myself. That way you can decide which one you prefer, my crappy reading or the narrator. So here we go.
In sadly what isn't particularly surprising news, it looks like the CW's Babylon 5 reboot may be in trouble. Michael Straczynski, creator of both the original science fiction series and the potential reboot, took to Twitter this week to tell fans the decision to greenlight or cancel the pilot may be decided end of this month, and urged fans to let their voices be heard. In particular, Straczynski called on fans to petition Warner Bros. TV, even though 75% ownership of the CW was acquired by Nexstar Media Group. Straczynski offered fans the hashtag B5OnCWin23 for the campaign, and while so far the supporters of the Babylon 5 reboot getting vocal on Twitter measure at least in the thousands, those aren't exactly stunning numbers in the age of social media. One hurdle Straczynski and company have to deal with that similar revivals are usually spared is that the Babylon 5 reboot simply can't give fans what they want in their heart of nerd hearts, not a reboot, but a continuation. With the vast majority of the original series lead cast having passed away in the intervening years, a continuation may be possible but not at all plausible. Not to mention that Straczynski has already confirmed that his plan with the reboot is to tell a story that's different from the first series, and change isn't exactly something hardcore sci-fi TV/movie fans are known for embracing. In spite of the recent upheaval at the CW, including many of its most popular programs either being cancelled or renewed for final seasons, as well as Nexstar talking about a hard turn away from most scripted programming, this is Straczynski's first public expression of any kind of doubt about the Babylon 5 reboot's future. Even earlier this month, when clarifying some fan confusion about different projects from the franchise, the series creator merely said the reboot was awaiting a production order. Considering both the CW's expected turn away from scripted shows and the budget required for an effects-heavy, space-based science fiction series, the only surprise is that it's taken this long for Straczynski to rally the troops. One silver lining is that regardless of what happens with the Babylon 5 reboot, there is at least one confirmed project, which Straczynski called Project 2, coming from what remains of the original cast. Straczynski confirmed the new project, scheduled for release in 2023, in early September, but without saying exactly what Project 2 was. He said only that it was done in secret and that he'd been sworn to secrecy against even mentioning what medium it was taking place in. We don't have any inside scoops on what Project 2 is, but at the very least we can make some good guesses about who is involved. With so few of the original Babylon 5 stars left, we're guessing Project 2 will include Bruce Boxleitner, Captain John Sheridan, Claudia Christian, Lieutenant Commander Susan Ivanova, Andrea Thompson, the psychic Talia Winters, Bill Mumi, the Minbari diplomatic aide Lanier, Tracy Scroggins, Captain Elizabeth Lockley, Jason Carter, Marcus Cole, Patricia Tallman, the psychic Lyda Alexander, and Peter Jurasik, the Centauri diplomat Londo.
Right, there's no narrator on this one, so you're going to have to put up with my annoying voice. I don't know which is more annoying, the narrator or my voice. Let me know. J. Michael Straczynski on Babylon 5 Reboot, the CW. We ain't dead yet. Well, here we go. This article is fairly recent, October the 3rd, 2022. That's the latest one I can find so far. So here we go. Earlier today, news hit that Nexstar Media Group had formally closed a deal to acquire 75% of the CW, with Warner Brothers, Discovery, and Paramount Global each retaining 12.5% ownership stakes. Along with that news also came word that Mark Pedowitz had stepped down as chairman/CEO of the network after 11.5 years in charge, leading many to believe that was the final move in what will be a major programming overhaul of the network. As we wrote earlier today, that leaves the status of a number of series in limbo and left wondering about their future. One of these projects is J. Michael Straczynski's From the Ground Up Babylon 5 Reboot, and now J. Michael Straczynski has offered an update to fans who were left wondering. We aren't dead yet. There are still a lot of decisions going on behind the scenes, and no decision has yet been made about #B5 on CW in 23. As we await a decision, fans eager to see the new Babylon 5 series should continue to voice their support to Nexstar Media Group and Warner Brothers TV. J. Michael Straczynski added in a tweet updating fans on where things stand. Following that, he had some kind words to share about Pedowitz. And though Michael Pedowitz is now on a new path into the future after leading the CW for 11 years, I want to thank him for his dedication to and support of Babylon 5 during all of this, right through the events of today. He's a stand-up guy. So that doesn't leave me with a boost of confidence, and I don't think it leaves anybody with a boost of confidence. I think we can pretty much say from just reading between the lines here that the reboot is done, dusted, over. And the reason I say that is because of several points. First and foremost, the CW channel, it wasn't an overall great channel to have a reboot of Babylon 5 on because it wasn't really that widespread. For example, I live in New Zealand, I cannot get the CW. I can't even open a website in this country, so you have to be in America to view anything on that channel. The second thing is, he was going to tell a different story of Babylon 5, which to me, then it isn't Babylon 5. If you're going to tell a totally different story to what the original was, then yeah, that's not going to bode well for a reboot. The other point is Pedowitz resigning. He was the only remaining grace in the whole thing. He was a supporter of Babylon 5. He was, CEO. That was basically what was holding the whole deal together. Now with the departure of Pedowitz, that's basically the only supporter left in the CW to support a reboot. And now we come to the fans. I want to talk a bit about that. Now I am a fan, as are you. I was dubious about the reboot because you cannot remake a masterpiece, and the original is a masterpiece. But let's face it, and I'm going to be brutally honest here, Babylon 5 wasn't really a far-reaching sci-fi show. Yes, it was good, yes, it was brilliant, but it wasn't far-reaching. From my personal experience, and there were very few times that I talked to mates, friends, and other sci-fi lovers where I could find another person who knew what Babylon 5 was. I mean, one of the few people who knew what Babylon 5 was, the moment I found her, I married her, and that's my wife. I mean, that was one of the surprising aspects that really got us talking, was the fact that we both knew Babylon 5. But Babylon 5 wasn't a far-reaching show. And it shows now where, supporters are in the thousands, not in the millions. and that's because of that. Now, recently I did plug in season 1, and I'll probably do a video on that, even though I haven't been too good at keeping my promises. I plugged in season 1 and watched it from beginning to end, and I was very, very surprised at how good the show really is. Now, that might sound silly, but I haven't, I watched the occasional episode, which I love here and there, but I haven't watched it in sequence in quite some time. What I found was it was brilliant. It's a testament to how good the show really was, because it holds up even today. In matter of fact, it's better than the sci-fi shows that are on the market today. The storytelling is much better. The acting is much better. You're invested in it from beginning till end. And you can already see in the first season all the seeds being laid for the remaining seasons. The story was ongoing. It wasn't one of those Star Trek where every week you get a new story. Yes, you got a new story, but it was linked to the previous one. And there might be something that happens in episode 3 that pays off in 2 seasons later. And that's what was so brilliant. Plus, which I'll also do in another video, it is almost prophetic as to what is happening in the world today. And the show sort of almost predicted that. That's how good the show was. But despite all that, we didn't have the following that it deserved. And because of that, I don't think we'll ever get to see a reboot. Plus, it's too late. It's far too late. Most of the actors have passed away. And even the actors, some that have passed and some who still remain, weren't that enthusiastic about a reboot. They didn't want it, simply because of the fact that it would just ruin the show. What if it ruined the show, So those are my thoughts on it. I had great doubts that this would ever happen because of the channel it was on. I had great doubts that it would happen because they couldn't get the budget that it needed. And that was mentioned in the article as well. Now, Project 2. I think Project 2 is another Lost Tales. So you're going to get, a couple of episodes. There might be connections to some of the stories, but just because the article said that, it would contain all of these actors, no, it could, not would. And the original show came on air for the first time, 1992? So that is a long time. The last show was 98, I think, not counting the Lost Tales. So that is a long time to be waiting for either a continuation or a reboot. Too long. And as we've found out with other franchises, a reboot or sequels in a new environment of today does not work. So the last thing I wanted is for this show to be destroyed. I have seen some good arguments for a reboot. One that I came across was that I think it was a mum who wanted the next generation to enjoy Babylon 5 the same as we did. And I couldn't really come up with a better argument for a reboot. I totally agree. I would love for this generation to be invested as we were into Babylon 5. It is a brilliant show. But that doesn't mean it's going to be good once you do a reboot. I'm sorry, but the actors made the characters work. They put themselves into those characters. No one else can do that. They will put themselves in it. It won't be the same characters. You really think you're going to come up with an equivalent to Jakar? Hell no. To Delenn? To any of them. They would be played totally differently. And maybe that's why Joe Straczynski decided that, okay, we're going to have to tell a different story. But that just destroys the whole idea of a reboot. So I think the reboot was never going to be a reality. For him to say it ain't dead yet, that is just his last little bargaining before he has to realise the fact that it's not going to go. It's not going to work. The fact that Petowitz is gone, and he was the only major supporter to keep this thing alive. Now that he has stepped down as CEO, that's it. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the matter. As always, give me your thoughts on the matter. I'm going to stop now because all you're doing is listening to my babbling on Babylon. Thank you very much for your comments. Thank you hugely for your subscriptions. We'll try to keep Babylon 5 alive by continue supporting the fans that are still Babylon 5 fans. We have to stick together on this one. There ain't that many of us, if you compare it to other sci-fis. So we have to keep it alive as best we can. Too bad about the reboot, but not surprised, and to be honest, I'm a little relieved. Thank you, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.
Remember? Yes. You were there. Yes. And you said nothing. 34. 35. 36. Nothing. 37. 38. Nothing. 39. One word, Mulan. One word was all that was required of you.
It would not have mattered. It wouldn't have changed anything. They would not have stopped.
You're wrong, Molani. Whether it was me or my world, whether it was a total stranger or your worst enemy, you were a witness. It doesn't matter if they'd stop. It doesn't matter if they'd listen. You had an obligation to speak out.
I couldn't.
And that's why you don't deserve to be emperor. And that's why you don't deserve to live.
No.
You're only moments away from the grave, Molani.